What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. March 22nd, 2020 here. We are on the water, local lake, Lake Winola, about 20 minutes from my house here. We are going to do an on-the-water full review of the Lowrance Ghost trolling motor. This trolling motor is an absolute beast. I am loving it, everything about it. So we're gonna give you a review on it, show you everything that it has to offer. I've had some time to play around with it and get familiar with it, and I'm just blown away by it. This trolling motor is phenomenal. In my opinion, Lowrance knocked it out of the park with this motor. So I'm gonna grab the camera, I'll bring you up front and show you what it's all about. Let's do it. All right, guys, there she is, Lowrance Ghost on the bow of my 2018 Z18. So here we go. Let's take a closer look at this. Let's start with the fit and finish. As you can see, it's a black finish with some parts of it are like a gunmetal gray. Very attractive looking trolling motor. The color of it's very very appealing. So and it's built like a rock. This thing is literally a tank of a trolling motor. From the first time I took it out of the box when it was delivered, I took it out and I was just kind of impressed with just the feel of the mount itself and the trolling motor, the way it's built. I am not worried about breaking this trolling motor by any stretch of the imagination. It's very stout, very well built. So let's get down, take a closer look at some of the features. So first things first, we'll start here at the top and then kind of work our way down. Most of you know, if you've looked at this motor before, it has a little bit of a groove right there. And what that's for, when you're launching, when you pick up the rope, it literally, as you can see, just pops right into place in that groove. What that does for you, it gives you a little bit of extra leverage. So when you're deploying the motor, it's so easy to deploy and to stow. It just gives you a little bit of extra leverage. You can stow and deploy this motor all day long and never get tired. I've had back surgery myself, so anybody who's either up there in age or back issues or whatever the case may be, I feel like you can stow and deploy this trolling motor 200 times a day and never get fatigued or sore from doing it. And that's just one little extra thing that Lowrance put on there to help with that. So again, as you can see, it just literally just falls right into place. When you pick that rope up, goes right in that groove, and it gives you a little bit of extra leverage when you go to lift the trolling motor up. Very easy to deploy. All right, and the next, let's jump down to the dual action piston down here, because that's another thing that actually makes this trolling motor very easy to stow and deploy. So this right here, that piece right here, dual action piston, it basically, again, makes it super easy to put in the water and to bring back up. You're going to see when I deploy this trolling motor, you can literally let go of the rope when it's about halfway down, and that piston will kick in and it'll literally just ease it down into the water and lock it into place. Makes it extremely easy to deploy and put in the lake. So all right, so again, I'll show you that when we deploy it. You'll get to see that firsthand. It also, you'll audibly hear it lock into place when it hits the water. That's a kind of a plus as well, because I've heard other people say with other brands. I've never personally experienced this, but I have heard other guys say with other brands, and I'm not going to mention any because that's not what this video is about. I'm not comparing trolling motors. I'm not going to trash talk any brand out there. There's a few different good options out there, so I'm not going to trash talk any of them, but I have heard some people say that when they deploy their trolling motor, it doesn't always lock into place, and then when you go to hit the foot pedal, hit the power, it pops up out on the bow of the boat. If it's ever happened to you, you'll know exactly what I mean. But this, you will literally, it'll ease down and you'll audibly hear it click into place. All right, so that dual action piston, and actually it also helps, I'm sorry about the wind, hopefully that's not getting too bad in the camera there, but it'll also help it when you go to stow the trolling motor. It assists with that as well, and again, it just makes it extremely easy, extremely light to stow and deploy. All right, so next up, of course, the stabilizer bar. That's pretty standard. The shaft itself is a 360 breakaway shaft. You can see the spring right in here that helps with that. So again, it's a 360 breakaway. So if you hit anything going forward, backwards, sideways, doesn't matter. It's going to give a little bit and really help protect the shaft of the motor. But again, I'm not worried about damaging this trolling motor. It's built rock solid. Coming back up to the head real quick, as you're going to see when it's deployed, another huge feature for me, a huge selling point for me, was the fact that the head of the trolling motor doesn't move itself. That is huge if you have cables coming off of it for transducers or anything else. That to me is a big deal. you're going to see the only thing that's going to spin, there's a little circle up here with the 3 directional arrows on it that'll show you which way the trolling motor is pointing. That's the only thing that spins, so you don't have to worry about these cables getting wrapped up. As you can see, I have my LiveSight cable wrapped around it, coiled around 4 times. I'm sorry, yeah, well, 5 times actually. And again, I don't have to worry about that getting tangled up or anything. So the other feature up here is it does have a knob down underneath here. You won't be able to see it in the video, but it's down underneath here. That's the knob that you would tighten or loosen to pick up, to make the trolling motor higher or lower. Obviously, I have it set at the lowest point right now. I'm in a pretty deep lake, so I don't have to worry about going too shallow with it right now. So, but you can lift that and you can pick it up, you know, as high, I believe, right up to that collar. So you can see you have a pretty good, you know, distance to lift the trolling motor if you need to get it shallower. So, all right, so coming down here, another little feature that Lowrance, you know, thought of. I feel like Lowrance really put a lot of thought into this trolling motor, and it was very well thought out. This is just something little, something minor, but it's something you don't really see on too many trolling motors, if any, to be honest. Right here, for the cable for the foot pedal itself, very pliable, a lot of play with it, you know, to feed it however you want to feed it. I have mine down behind my 16-inch live here, and then down tucked in behind the cup holder to go into the foot pedal. Very pliable, but Lowrance put 2 clips on that you screw them directly into the motor itself, the bracket, and you can snap the cable into these 2 pieces here, 1, 2. You can put the cable in there, and the cable snaps into place nice and tight. Don't have to worry about it going anywhere. But they even took it a step further, and they put 2 slots on each clamp, 2 slots here and 2 slots there, where you can feed cable ties down behind them, and you can really kind of lock that cable. And I also have my LiveSight transducer cable ran through there as well, where you can really kind of lock them down there on those clips. And you know, if you're in rough water or anything, or your foot gets caught or whatever the case may be, you don't have to worry about those cables going anywhere. They're locked in there tight. So, all right. So then going down to the lower unit itself. Not sure how good of a look you'll get at it there. Let me see if I can get a little closer. As you'll see, my LiveSight transducer, before I talk about the lower unit, I do have to mention this bracket real quick. Made by Rytech Marine. The bracket is phenomenal. It is extremely well built, extremely well designed and thought out. And basically what it does is it allows you to use your LiveSight transducer forward or down, and you can adjust that in a matter of seconds. As you can see right now, I have it for the forward view, but literally if I wanted to change it to the down view, all I have to do is push down and it'll lay flat, and I'll be able to use it as the down view. If you have a LiveSight, you know that if you use the brackets that come with the transducer itself, you either have to mount it on the shaft of the trolling motor for the forward view, or on the bottom of the trolling motor lower unit for the down view. If you want to change that while you're on the water, you are literally changing mounts. Like, you have to unscrew it. It's something I don't even think you would do while you're on the water, to be honest with you. But that mount by Rytech Marine, again, awesome design, extremely well built, fits the trolling motor. He makes them for, I believe, the XI5, the Ultrex, and the Ghost, I think, are the 3 that he makes it for. But it fits it perfectly, and again, within seconds, you can adjust that transducer and use it down or forward. All right, so now going to the lower unit itself, brushless motor, which quiet, extremely quiet. You know, you really don't even hear much of this motor. There is a little bit of steering noise, which again you'll see when you know, when we have it deployed, and you know, I show it to you while it's in the water. But a little bit of steering noise. But as far as the motor itself, the motor is extremely quiet, and it's brushless, so that's obviously, it helps with that. And the power is phenomenal. It's the most powerful trolling motor I've ever used. I think it comes in at 120 pounds of thrust at the 36 volt option, and 97 pounds of thrust as the 24 volt option. So extremely powerful motor. So the nose cone of the lower unit is actually the transducer. It's built in. You're going to see on my screen here, you get 0 interference with that brushless motor, and the fact that it's built right into the nose cone the way it is. Right now I'm running the HDI. I don't believe they've released a 3-in-1 yet. I probably will get the 3-in-1 once it is released. but right now it comes with the HDMI nose cone. I'm sorry, the HDI nose cone. So that's what I'm using on there right now. So, all right, so let's get this thing in the water. I'll show you what it can do. We'll also go over the foot pedal as well. The foot pedal, I love it. It's extremely well designed. So let's get the motor in the water and I'll show you what it can do. All right, before we drop it in the water, let me show you the foot pedal real quick so you know what we're doing once it's in the water. So let's start at the back and we'll work our way up to the front of the foot pedal. Down here, you can see, hopefully, there's a blue light on there. That's the 24 volt light. There's a power button right there at the tip of my finger. Hopefully you can see it. Again, I'm not sure how well it's coming out because of the glare with the sun. I can't really see the screen on the camera, but hopefully you can see that. There's a power button right there, which, that's obviously what you have to press to turn the foot pedal on and power up the trolling motor. You can change this trolling motor from a 24 volt or to a 36 volt system with the press of the button. So in other words, right now I only have 2 batteries set up on my boat for the trolling motor, 24 volt obviously. So that's what I have. But let's say I go out and buy a Z21 in a month from now. I don't have to buy a new trolling motor. You literally can take this motor, put it on the Z21, have a 3 battery setup, a 36 volt system for the trolling motor, press a button, and now you got a 36 volt trolling motor. That's pretty big. I mean, that could save you a decent chunk of change if you go changing boats and you don't want to go buying a new trolling motor. You can run this 24 or 36 volt. The other button on the side here, it's the test button. You can test the batteries for the trolling motor. That's also how you go in and out of a pairing mode, which I'm not going to cover right now, but that's how you would pair, once you get the TMR1 remote, once Lowrance releases that. And there's other things you can do that with that as far as pairing and that kind of thing. So, all right, so coming up to the foot pedal itself, as you can see, it has the anchor button right there. That puts you into anchor lock mode. The anchor lock, the GPS on this thing is phenomenal. You hit that anchor button and this boat doesn't move. The back end may sway, but that's unavoidable depending on the wind and the current. But the nose of the boat will stay put. It doesn't sway at all. It just doesn't move. It keeps you pinned. Very good anchor lock feature on this trolling motor. These other 3 buttons, as you can see, the 1 dot, 2 dot, and 3 dot buttons, they are, you can program them. So I'll show you up here on my 16-inch live. To program them to what you want them to be, all you got to do is go into settings, go to Autopilot, configure trolling motor keys. That's it. And then you can configure them however you want them. I have my 1 button for constant on, 2 is a waypoint, and 3 is a heading lock. So just to show you the list of what you can do, you can put it as no function. Anchor, I don't know why you do that because there's already a designated anchor button. There's heading lock, course lock, constant on, power pull up, power pull down, and waypoint. So a lot of options there to customize it there. And I have, again, make sure I have it set back up. My 1 is a constant on. So, all right, so that's as easy as that, to program them 3 keys. And then again, the anchor button right there. Then, of course, you have your knob for your speed control. It goes from 1 to 9 and then 10 or max, whatever you want to call it. It says max, but it's number 10. And then at the top of the pedal, another awesome feature from Lowrance. It's called the flip switch. That basically allows you to flip the power on button to either side of the foot pedal. Motor Guide usually has it on the right. I had a Motor Guide and it was on the right. I'm assuming that most Motor Guides do. Minn Kota, if hopefully I'm not wrong on this, but I believe Minn Kota is on the left-hand side. My Motor Guide had it on the right. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I preferred on the left. Well, with this flip switch, you can literally put it on either side. It's a matter of taking a couple screws out. It literally takes 2 minutes, if that, to swap the button to either side, whatever side you want it on. All right, so the only thing, as you can see with this foot pedal too, it does fit in the recessed area of my Z18 with plenty of room to spare. There's room on all 4 sides of the pedal. Even with the cup holder and tool holder that I have there, there's even some space left behind it here. The only thing that I did alter with this foot pedal from when I took it out of the box, I did put an inch thick board underneath it and screwed it down to that because I like my pedal raised just a little bit. If you don't have that inch board underneath there, it sits basically perfectly flush. But again, I like my foot pedals raised just a tiny bit, so I did put that inch block underneath there to bring it up just slightly. So, all right, but again, the feel of this pedal is phenomenal. The response to the trolling motor is phenomenal. It's just an all-around, it feels like a cable steer trolling motor, honestly. It's nothing like the XI5, which if anybody's owned an XI5, that foot pedal is a disaster. I loved my XI5. I used it for 7 seasons, and it was an awesome motor, but the foot pedal definitely took some getting used to, and you know, some guys couldn't get used to it. So I did, but you know, some guys just hated it and couldn't get used to it. So this is a very smooth feeling steering, and I believe they're calling it a fly-by-wire steering. I believe that's what Lowrance is calling it, but it's just extremely smooth and very responsive. So all right, so that's the pedal. So let's get this motor in the water and I'll show you what it can do. All right guys, let me show you what this is all about. So I'll show you right from picking up the rope. Let's pick up the rope. It literally goes right into that groove like I showed you, no effort whatsoever. You know, just kind of falls right in there. And I'll show you as I go to pick this up, I'm going to let the rope go, and it's going to deploy itself after you get about halfway, and you'll see that piston kick in, and it just eases down into the water, and you'll audibly hear it lock into place. So I'm just going to lift it up, and I'll let you see what it does. Let go of the rope, eases down with that piston, and just locks in. So that's just a huge feature. I mean, again, anybody with back trouble or anybody who's up there in age, I mean, this thing is so easy to stow and deploy. That dual action piston is just phenomenal. So all right, so I showed you, we already went over the foot pedal, so I'm not going to show you much there. The directional arrows, as you can see, I'm going to move the foot pedal here. You'll see those arrows. That's what's going to show you, you know, which way the trolling motor is pointing. Guys, if I had one minor complaint about the trolling motor, and I'm nitpicking here, it would be the directional arrows. And what I mean by that is they do their job. I mean, if you looked in the water right now, I've done it several times, they'll always show you where the motor is pointing, but sometimes there's like a slight lag at first. So when I first, here, I'll do it. When I first start moving the motor or moving the foot pedal, it's almost like they take a split second to catch up, and then they'll catch up and they'll follow the motor and show you where it's pointing. So again, I'm nitpicking, but I just wanted to point that out just so you guys would know about it. I don't think that's just my motor. I've actually heard that mentioned in the Lowrance forums as well. So again, not a huge deal. I honestly don't even care about it. You know, I'm nitpicking for sure, but I just wanted to point that out just so you guys know. All right, so as you can see, hopefully see in the video, the arrows light up as well when you put your foot on the power switch, the power button. So they go off when the motor's off. When you push on it, they light up. So I have not used the motor in the dark yet, so I don't know about how that is during the you know, during nighttime fishing. So, you know, I'm not sure if they're too bright, if you might have to, there's ways you can dull them up a little bit if they are. But you know, as you can see, you know, they do, the sun is shining bright out here right now, and you can see them light up. So it'll tell you, you know, if you're not sure if the constant on, you know, I'll just hit that constant on button and they light up. You know, if you're not sure if you're on a slow speed or something, because this thing is extremely quiet. Like right now, I mean, you can't really hear it. I only have it on 3 right now, but you can barely hear this thing running. It is extremely quiet with that brushless motor. So all right, so those arrows do light up just to confirm that it's on. All right, the other thing I didn't mention with the foot pedal is when you're standing up here, the 4 buttons, the 3 buttons there, and then the anchor button, they have a little bit of a raised lip on them, which makes it extremely easy to push without you know, having to put your toes down in there or anything. Literally just right there on the raised part. Super easy to do. All right, so let me again, we won't go over the foot pedal much more. I kind of showed you everything about that. We mentioned the directional arrows. One thing I will show you, if you guys have a similar setup here, obviously on the bow, as you can see, I'm running a 16-inch live unit. Above it is my 12.9-inch iPad Pro that I use for mapping only. This is hands down my favorite screen to run on my 16-inch live. 2D sonar, down imaging, LiveSight. Absolutely love this setup. I use the iPad up above it for the mapping so I don't take up any screen space on my 16-inch live. I love having this 3-panel setup on my 16-inch live on the bow. I've seen it several times now where, you know, if I'm cruising down a contour line or through a bay or whatever, you'll see fish out in front of you on the LiveSight, and then you can literally follow them right to the boat, and then as soon as they get underneath you, they'll pop up on your 2D and your down imaging. You could actually see a couple fish right there. That's a rock right there, and there's a couple fish sitting right around it. And then here they come on this is perfect. I'm glad you guys are getting to see this. You can see them sitting right above the rock right there. on the down imaging and the 2D sonar. All right, so that's, you know, it's just absolute favorite screen to run on the 16-inch Live. And man, that's a group of fish right there. Holy cow. If I wasn't making this video, I'd be dropping a line right now. So let me show you how to follow a contour with this setup. I'm not familiar with, you know, if you have an Elite TI2 or a different Lowrance unit. I'm honestly not familiar if they are the same. I'm guessing they probably are, but if you're running Lives and you have the Lowrance Ghost, let me show you how to follow a contour line. To do that, all I'm going to do is go to my mapping screen on my 16-inch Live, go to chart, and then you're going to click on, if you have, you saw what I did there. If it says restore cursor, just restore cursor, and then you see this new button here. You're going to click on new route, and then new route. And then what you can do is, if you want to follow these contours, you're just going to press and hold. It's going to create a hopefully you can see it. There's like a white circle with a green outline on the screen there. So then another one, another one, another one, another one. You can do that as much as you want. And then once you're done, you have your trail set up or your route set up. Just go to save. You're going to be able to name it. I'm just going to name it as Route 2 for right now. So then once you save it, if you want to navigate it, you can start it from forward or reverse. So let's say you're on a pretty good stretch of water, and you know, whether you're trolling or casting, doesn't matter. If you want to do it in forward, you can just click forward. It'll follow that route that you created. Once you get to the end of it, if it's a really productive stretch, you can then go and click reverse, and it would take you back through it. All right, guys, so that's just a you know, an easy way to follow a contour line, or even if you're not following a contour line, you can just set up waypoints however you want, and you know, create a route, and it'll take you right down that route and then back if you chose to. So all right, so let me show you one other thing before I put the camera in the water and show you guys how quiet the motor actually is, because I know there's been some discrepancies on YouTube and online with that. There was a gentleman who made a video a few months back claiming that the Ghost was extremely loud, and he actually showed it in his video. I mean, you know, he did show it, but you know, when I first saw the video, I kind of questioned it myself, and you know, I knew something was up, so I just waited till I had my own. And you know, I will tell you, the brushless motor on this trolling motor on the Ghost, it's extremely quiet. I don't know if that gentleman had you know, a prototype in his video or what. It was before it was released, before the trolling motor was released to the public. I'm not going to mention his name. I'm not going to mention anything else, but you know, trust me when I tell you, this motor is extremely quiet, and I will put my camera in the water to show you. So all right, so let me show you one more thing. I'm going to cancel that out, and you can go back and delete that if you wanted to. You know, actually, I'm not going to show you that right now. It's in the settings somewhere. You can go back and delete the route. There it is, right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So one other thing I'll show you here, the last thing I'll show you before we go underwater, the trolling, the autopilot features. So when you click on that little trolling, as you can see right there on the side of the screen, click on trolling, and you can actually control this motor from the screen itself. From any one of the screens, actually. I can do it from my 12-inch Live, either one of my 12-inch Lives at the wheel as well. So you can anchor, course lock. If you click on turns, there's a whole list of turns that you can set up and do. You know, U-turn, zigzag, spiral, square, S-turn, whatever you want to do. So just another pretty neat feature that you can control from the screen itself. I will be getting the TMR1 remote once it's released. I believe it's the middle of April they're going to start shipping, so I will be getting that as well, so you can also control the Ghost from the handheld remote as well. So all right, guys, so I'm going to wrap this up here, and let me get the camera underwater. That's the last thing I'll show you, and we'll finish the video up. And as always, if you guys have any questions on anything you saw, or if you want to see something different, you know, just leave the comment below. But let me get the camera set up. I'm going to get it underwater so you guys can hear what the motor is like under the water, and you can get a feel for how quiet it is. All right, so hang tight. All right, guys, so here we go with the underwater test, so I can show you how quiet it is, and so you can see what that brushless motor can do for you as far as the noise level. So I have it set to max, as you can see, hopefully. So I'm actually kneeling right now because, again, this motor has some torque and some power to it. So if I was standing, I'd probably throw myself off the boat. So I'm just gonna hit I have it on max. I'm just going to hit the constant on, and then I'm going to put you in the water so you can hear it at full power, and you can get a feel for how quiet it is even at full power. And trust me when I tell you, you're not going to be fishing much with it on full power because you're going to be moving. So, but I just wanted to give you a feel for it. So what I'll do actually, I'll show you full power, and then after maybe, you know, after a few seconds, I will lower it down to maybe 4 or 5. So obviously you'll be able to hear that under the water, but just so you know what I'm doing. So when you first go in the water, it's going to be on full power. After a few seconds, I'll lower it down to maybe 4 or 5, and just to give you a feel for what it sounds like at that level as well. So, all right, so here we go. Constant on. So there we go, we kicked in. I'm actually going to just set it to heading lock as well. That way I don't have to worry about hitting anything. All right, so guys, as you can see, full power, constant on. So let me get you in the water and I'll show you what it sounds like. my YOLO Tech poles here, so I apologize about the shaky video, but I just wanted to give you an idea of noise level. As you can see, I lowered it to 5 for the, you know, after the first few seconds of it being on 100, I lowered it to 5 there, as you can see on the dial. All right, and we're still moving right now, still on the heading lock. So just wanted to give you an idea, you know, how quiet that motor actually is. So when you're up above, you know, fishing off the deck here, you can barely hear that thing if you're on anything lower than, you know, 6 or 7. You know, you have to look at the direction arrows to see if they're lit up to even tell if the thing is on. So, all right, so hopefully that gives you an idea. All right, guys, there you have it, my full on-the-water review of the Lowrance Ghost trolling motor. One thing I just want to mention real quick, which I did not show you, I actually didn't put it in anchor lock for you to show you. We are in anchor lock right now. The wind really isn't that bad today, so I don't think you would have got much out of seeing it today, but I can tell you it just keeps you pinned. As you can see behind me, just a slight chop on the water. Wind is only maybe 5, 6, 7 miles an hour at best, but we are in anchor lock right now, and this boat isn't going to move. The wind is at my back, the nose is facing into the wind. It's not going to budge. I can promise you that. So the anchor lock is just phenomenal on this motor. So I didn't show it to you before right now, but I just wanted to mention we are in anchor lock right now. Motor's super quiet, and as you saw underwater as well, which I just showed you, you know, when I first put you guys in the water there, that was on 10, guys. That was max power, and this trolling motor is that quiet. I don't know what happened in that last video from a few months ago from that other gentleman. Again, I can't say. I don't know for sure. I don't want to, you know, call him out or anything like that. I'm not even going to mention the name of the video. But as you can see, you know, I had it at full power, max power, when I first put you guys underwater, and then I took it down to 5 like I showed you. And, you know, when I took you down to 5, you could barely even hear it underwater. You know, so it's just extremely quiet. So again, I'm not really sure what happened in that other video when you know, we showed the Lowrance Ghost being extremely loud. That is not the case, as you guys can see. So, all right, so hopefully this video helped you guys out. You know, I wanted to make this video because there's been so many questions with it being a brand new trolling motor. I'm in a lot of forums and, you know, fishing forums, Lowrance forums, blah blah blah, and you know, I tried to cover just about everything that I've seen asked. So if you guys have anything else you want to see or want to know about the motor itself, feel free to ask, and you know, feel free to comment below, and I'll be sure to get to it. So very impressed with this trolling motor. If you're in the market or even thinking about a new trolling motor, give this Ghost a look. It is just hands down a phenomenal trolling motor, everything from A to Z. Again, my one minor complaint is that nitpicking of the directional arrows when you first start moving it left or right. It just takes a split second to catch up, and then it'll show you exactly where the motor's pointed. So other than that, there is zero complaints with this trolling motor. It is just phenomenal. So all right.
right, so as always, thanks for watching, guys. I got to wrap this up. I will be announcing the winner of my giveaway within the next day or two, the giveaway that I had going on and then did at 3 o'clock today. So I will be announcing that in the next day or two. And, you know, good luck to everybody who's entered. I don't know who the winner is yet. We haven't picked it yet. Me and my kids are going to do it on camera for you. So good luck to everybody who entered. The support with that was phenomenal, as always. So, all right, guys. So, again, Lowrance Ghost. Awesome trolling motor. I am thoroughly pleased with it. Really no complaints at all. Even that little nitpick, you know, I can't even say that's a complaint. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Got some questions answered on the motor. All right, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Be safe on the water.